Sit. We're going to take spike out. He's sitting. We step out. We do this at every gateway, every doorway. Have him sit. Walk back next to him. Okay. And if you're by yourself, you have to close that door. So always turn left. Let your body do the work. Don't turn right and drag him, because that's what will start to happen. Any kind of tight leash will make him pull against it. So we're always using our body to turn into him wherever we go. If I'm going to go right, I'm going to do a left turn to go right. You see how that works? No pulling. But if you start doing this kind of stuff, dragging him all over the place, the pulling's going to just all come back, and it's not going to be any good. So we're always turning into the body just like that, and it is a very dominant move, and no matter how big you are or small you are, dog's going to have a lot more respect for you if you do the right moves. Like that one's a very important one. When it comes to boundaries, we're doing that boundary thing at every boundary that we can possibly practice at. All doorways, front door, back door, gates. We're about to do it at the curb. Okay, you can stand over there now. So here's the curb. We're going to cross the street. Before we cross the street, sit. Going to have him sit. And then we're going to I always practice this sit stay wherever I go. As long as nobody's right on top of you and there's not dogs everywhere, you can do this anywhere on the street. Okay, as you cross the street, this is on the clock territory here. I put him on the clock into work mode by having him sit at the curb, and then we're walking him across the street, and on the other side, we're going to say sit, and then here we release him to be free. Go. Now he's free, and now we can start our walk. So if you come upon a distraction, all you have to do is say, come, call him back to you, just like this. And we also have somebody walking up to us, another man, like this. So there's a person moving a bunch of stuff. Come, call him back to you. Very good. And so if you're seeing distractions on the street, come. See how he even looked at that guy walking past? You're going to call him away from that. Keep that leash loose. Never restrain him. You don't want to do this, any of that. If you catch him as soon as he looks and you call him back to come to you, it gets easier and easier and easier. But if you let him stare, and if you try to control him, it's going to go back to the way it was before. The pulling, possible barking, guarding you as if you're an object. And now we have other people coming out of here. And he is actually, I am kind of letting him stare, because when she comes out, come, I can call him back to me. Good. But see, this is a result of a lot of practice, and I just want to make sure you see what he's doing here and how he is responding to recalls away from distractions on the street. And you notice the whole time the leash is loose. Okay, let's go. In the middle of everything. And so I said sit. There's no stay. You don't have to say stay. Stay is built into sit. You can walk around both ways. We have lots of distractions around here, lots of noise. And you see how he stays. And then whenever you practice this, and this could be in your house with the kids running around, step back next to him, eye contact, straight down, and then go. And he's free. Down. He's a little bit distracted here with all the noise and people, so I helped him a little bit. I just eased him down. When I said down, I just put a little bit of pressure there, and there is no stay because stay is built into down. Good boy. He's very easily overstimulated, as so many Dobermans are. Good. And so he's panting a lot because he's really excited. It's not because he hasn't had water, just in case you're wondering. And he will get this way out in public. But I'm showing you how good he is when the training is used. doing this little downstay. Being able to do this out in public where there's a lot going on is a direct result of practicing. Good. Practicing on that mat and that other clip that we showed you, the mat exercise. And because we practiced on that, good boy. Look at all these distractions from all different sides. He's staying down there. I'm rewarding him. It's as if we're on the mat now, except there's no mat. So he's waiting for me to come back next to him. Okay, release him to get up. Come on, it's okay, buddy. And sit. And we always release him out of a down like that and have him sit, and then you release him to be free. Go. Like that, from a calm sit stay. It just makes for a much calmer release than if you would have just said, okay, and he jumps up and starts jumping around straight out of a down stay. So always make sure you release him that way, not the other way where you usually see it. The old-fashioned way, do it this way. It's better. Okay. Sit. Whenever you're going to send him over to somebody or you want to introduce him to somebody, do this greeting routine and it will go way better than it would if you were just to let him run up to the person, have him sit, hand the person a little treat. He's going to wait till you come back next to him, pat his chest and say, make sure he waits. If he tries to go before you release him, you just tap it and he'll go back, just like what I just did. Pat his chest, go say hi, right over there. Yeah, get the treat. You can pet him. Come. Call him back to you. Good. And I think you really need to do this with your kids because both dogs are going to get very excited. Sit. He's going to get very excited when your children are around or when he first comes home or when they come home. So if you're able to do this, or some of the older kids can do this with him, then it's really going to help. Even just go. That's the second time. Come. Even if you just do it good 3 times. We're just going to do it one more time. Sit. And you always, if things fall apart and he's really excited and he tries to jump, you always have your come command. You call him to come to you. Go. Come. Good. And that's the greeting routine. Here we go. Walk him up to the mat. Sit. And then he's on your left with your right hand. You pat his chest and say, go to your mat, and then walk him over and say down. Go into a down there. And just practice this little exercise. Even if all you do, see how he might lunge for that food there? Good. Even if all you do is just a simple, put him on the mat like that. We have some horse flies here today because we're next to a stables. So he's after the flies that are bugging him. See how he got a little crooked? I'm going to take a little handful of his doggy treats here, and I'm going to just lure him to be straight. You see how that? He follows it, and his body straightens out, and then good. When he is where I want him, I reward him on the mat. As I was saying, even if you just do this thing where you walk around him both ways each time, come back in front of him like this, reward him. Good. Just like this, walk around, make sure you walk around both ways. Even if you just do this exercise, whether the mat is good out on the back patio or on the, on the cement out there somewhere in the shade, or in your house in one of the rooms where there's a lot of space, just do this for 5 minutes once a day, and it really helps. Really helps to keep a dog calm. Good. You see how I reward him? A lot of it is about how you actually deliver the reward. And you see how I'm doing it. Always, when you're in front like this, and you swing in like this. Good. Make sure he waits. If he tries to touch your hand and grab it, you pull back. So you saw, I think I did that earlier, and he'll stop and then he'll wait. He knows how to do this. You just have to make sure that you keep him honest, so to speak, and make sure that you don't put up with any kind of sloppiness on his part, and he will be doing what you see him doing with me right now. And all I'm doing is walking around both ways. This will create respect for you, whoever's doing this exercise. Good. And also, it's a 5-minute downstay. And he has to stay focused. He has to calm down to stay here. It's a simple exercise anybody can do. If he pops up before you release him, you just say no, stand on that leash, put him back. If he gets up, and I'll show you in a second what to do, if he gets up and leaves the mat for some reason, reward him one more time. Good. I'm gonna release him from this. This is how you release him, and then I'll show you what to do in case he jumps up and tries to run away or something, if somebody distracts him too much. Now we're gonna release him, and the way you release him every time is you go back next to him, say, okay, walk him off the mat. Come on, buddy, come on. Sometimes you have to lure him off, and then sit. Good, he doesn't want to leave the mat. So I had just some crumbs in my pocket, so just on the spur of the moment I did that. But that's the way to do it, and sometimes he'll even back up too, because he loves to back up when you tell him to sit. So that is a way to nip that in the bud. Okay, and then we're gonna do this, keep filming, because I want to show you another thing. So if he is, sit, go. So if let's say that you're doing the mat exercise and he makes a mistake, you say no, and you step into him, just do a little do-over thing like that. He's just gonna put himself back, because he'll know that he lost focus, he popped up. For some reason, maybe there was a loud noise or somebody ran into the room. You have children, so maybe they're running around, they broke his concentration, he pops up, you say no, use your body to step into him and reset him. Most of the time he's gonna go back. Don't say down again, because you already said it the first time you sent him to the mat, but if you have to, worst case scenario, you lead him back there and you just put him back. So he pops up, you say no, you do that little circle thing where you step into him, lead him back on the mat, just ease him down with your foot, and then continue that exercise. And I'll take him off one more time. Good. We'll do that one more time. Okay. Come on, buddy. And sit. Good. And then go. Sit. Always walk him up to the crate. I would recommend having him on a leash, just like what we do every time we do it today, all throughout the day. And it's probably 5 or 6 times a day that he goes in and out like this. Crate's usually in the house, of course, but I just have it out here to show you because it's easier to film it out here. You have him sit. We open the door. We say, go. He goes in his crate. There you go. It's sitting at an angle, so the door tried to close on him. But he went in, he turned around and gave him a treat. Good. And then we're gonna do this one more time. Okay. So you're gonna, once again, see how I'm resetting him? Sit, you reset him just from stepping around, just doing this thing with your body where you literally herd him in a circle. At the end of that circle, when he's facing where you want him to go, you have him sit. Okay, a little bit closer, sit. You're gonna open the door. This time we won't try to close on him. And then if you have any problem putting him in the crate at your house, you can always just take a treat, go, toss it in there, he'll follow it in. That would solve any issue at all. Of course, he's been doing this routine here for a long time, so he knows it very well. And the only reason he wouldn't do it at your place would be because he was nervous, not used to doing it with you or something like that. So what I'm doing right now is taking off his leash and collar, and you can see he won't come out of the crate. Reward him again. Always reward him. Stick your hand in there so he's not sticking his head out. If he's sticking his head out, don't give it to him like that. Make sure he has to go back inside, get the treat, and I'm going to close this right now. So when you take the collars off, the little training prong collar hangs up on the door, just like that, so it doesn't get tangled up. The leash and the choke chain can go wherever you want to put them. And just to let you know what the routine is here, he eats in his crate, They're eating, I believe they're eating twice a day now. He sleeps in his crate overnight. He's constantly in and out of the crate throughout the day. Lots of free time in the different yards that we have here. But always when they come in the house, sitting at doorways, sitting at boundaries, sits in front of the crate just like this, gets allowed to go in. When we're taking him out, I'm just going to do everything in reverse now. And by the way, any kind of bones, chewies, treats, unless he's out training with me, which means he gets a treat in exchange for each bit of learned behavior. In there, the chewies and bones, always in there, always in his den. You have 2 dogs you're going to get back, and so you want to have them have all their stuff in their respective crates, which is their den, really. And the door's always closed. Doors close when they're in, doors close when they're out, so the other dog can't go in and take their stuff. And there can never be a fight either, because their bones and chewies are in their own crates, so they can chew them happily next to each other, but nothing bad can possibly happen. We're using real dog crates, plastic crates, not wire cages, of course. So it's cozy. There's solid walls. There's a lot of coziness there, and that's what you want for a dog crate. When you're putting these little prong collars on, this is the smallest size they make. As you can see throughout the videos, we're not using them to correct and cause pain, and it's actually the opposite. It's just a light tapping, and really there's never any continuous tension. There's certainly no giant corrections, because that wouldn't help us at all in dog training. What we're doing is because they pulled so much, we're using this because these little prong collars close with the same pressure all the way around. So when you tap on it, it closes with the same pressure on the back of the neck and all around as it does on the front. Whereas a regular collar, all other collars are going to be right like that. Any kind of ridiculous thing like something that goes around a muzzle or something, his muzzle, and pulls him, steers him by his muzzle, is not going to work well for you. So that's why we're using these simple little tiny prong collars. You don't need the big ones, because it turns out that they're more sensitive to these small ones, because these little tiny links, they're really close together. These little tongs, they're blunt, they're not sharp, so you don't have to worry about that. And all it takes is just a little taps. It's not about muscle, it's about learning the moves and learning this little technique that you're seeing me use throughout the video. So when you're going to put that on him, you attach the leash to the funny shaped buckle. There's another one here that's just a round spacer. You don't touch that. That's simply a spacer. Make sure it's not twisted up. If it's twisted, it's not going to work well. So you can let it hang after you've attached it to the buckle. Make sure it's like this. And when it's time to come out, make sure he doesn't burst out. You might have to do a couple of token little closes like that on the crate door. Open the door, reach in, hook him up, just put this around his neck, and it's always the highest collar up. The prong collar is always the one right underneath his ears. All the other collars are down below. We're going to go out in public. We're also going to put this choke chain on, and just put this over his head. And you always attach the choke chain to the leash as well as the prong collar, because the choke chain is only a safety. You'd never use that for training. That could damage his throat. So the choke chain is always hanging loose. It's only if somebody's out. So he's barking at that. The choke chain is only for safety in case the prong collar comes off. Otherwise, it's always loose and it never comes into play unless you're out in public and the prong collar comes off, and you never lose a dog. So always double up on both collars before you take him out in public. So he's going to wait. If he tries to come out, you say no. He's going to wait until you say, okay, allow him to come out of the crate. And then you can always step into him like this, close the door, and sit. You can have him sit, and after he sits, take him wherever you're going to take him. Okay.